had been out to dinner with friends, and shortly after I had eaten dinner, we had left the restaurant. I started to experience chest pains, what I thought was chest pains. And so my friends took me to the emergency room and they did a series of tests. And once they determined that I was not having a heart attack, they decided that they wanted to do a CAT scan of my chest, a chest CAT scan, to make sure it wasn't a pulmonary embolism. Well, luckily it was not, but the radiologist found a tiny spot on the upper lobe of my left lung. So anyway, he said it's probably nothing, could just be scar tissue, but you need to follow up with your doctor. So anyway, I did, and that was in June of 2006. And then in September of 2007, I had another CAT scan, and the pulmonologist said, whatever it is, it's just growing very slowly. We're just going to wait and monitor it. Then I believe I think in the fall, in September, October, I had another one. They said, you know what, we're going to wait. It's still growing very slowly. And then in January of 2007, they did a PET scan with where they inject the dye, and if it lights up on their screen in yellow, then there's a good chance that it was cancer. And anyway, so then the following month, I was scheduled for surgery, and so I had a thoracotomy where they removed 1/4 of the upper lobe of my left lung. Fortunately, it was caught early. It was stage 1B, so the only treatment I needed was the surgery, and they removed like a 2 centimeter nodule, and I did not need any further follow-up treatment. I did not need chemo, nor did I need any radiation. So I just thanking God, my lucky stars that I was fortunate, and I've not had any problems since. That was 17 years ago, and every year in February I get an annual chest CAT scan, and it's always been negative. Well, the confirmation was the PET scan that they did, um, and then they determined at that time it was most likely lung cancer, and they opted not to do a biopsy then because they felt that whatever it was, it had to be removed. So why do two surgeries? And they knew it had to be removed. And we have a lot of good medical schools here in the Chicago area. So I went to one of those where I had my surgery, and my friends did the research on finding me one of the top 100 doctors in America, actually. So, and that's who did my surgery. Well, in between waiting for these different CAT scans, from the time I went to the ER in June until I had that final CAT scan in January, I went on the internet and said, and Googled what are causes of lung cancer in non-smokers, and radon was number one. And at that time, then I did do a home test kit. I have 2 levels in my house, so I had put a test kit in each of the 2 levels, and my levels were 18 and 24 picocuries. So anyway, and then and at that time, then I knew I needed to have a radon mitigation system put in, which I did after I had my surgery because I couldn't deal with it, before the surgery. So I had it done 1 or 2 months after I had my surgery, and my levels have been good ever since. Yes, I had. I had a friend in my neighborhood who had sold her house, and she had to do a radon test, but I didn't really know what radon was. I just knew that she had to do it. And that was well before I even moved into my house. So, but there's my area where I live has very high concentrations of radon. So I'm guessing, I mean, I can walk around, and if the people have their radon systems installed on the outside of the house, the fan, then I know which houses have the radon systems put in. Well, I tried to encourage my friends, especially if I have friends or my friends' relatives are buying a new house, I said, your realtor needs to inform you about radon, and you really should have your house tested for radon before you purchase the house. So that's what I've done, and and after I had my surgery, my homeowners association, they had me speak a couple of times about my story, and after that, I don't know how many people, but I know at least 5 or 6 people just on my street had a radon system put in because of my story. Oh, I'm fine. There's no issues with the cancer and the pain that actually sent me to the hospital 17 years ago. It turned out that it was a gallbladder attack. So, I can just thank God that I had that gallbladder attack, because otherwise I wouldn't have known I had lung cancer. And by the time you have symptoms of lung cancer, it's like the third or fourth stage, and by that time it's really kind of too late to do anything. So, yeah. I said previously, I think that anyone buying a home should, definitely have their house tested for radon before they purchase the house. Um, or if they decide not to do it at that time, just do it maybe shortly after or in a year or whatever. But especially if it's in an area where they know that there's, high levels of radon, or just levels of radon, anything over 4 picocuries. And again, I just word of mouth is really about the best way um, to spread the word about radon. It's just not out there as much as it should be.